So, hello, and I hope you're doing well. So, just some random thoughts on some remedies, and especially some out of box remedies, because what I see is that typically at some point in our learning, the typical drug pictures of certain remedies, the calicarb, the sulfurs, the lycopodium, pulsatilla, is something we are able to crack. But it's when these remedies don't help, and we want to think a little out of box is where we start failing a little bit. And that's my endeavor, to give you a little idea about certain out of box remedies we don't use so often. One such remedy that we are using for some time is a remedy made up of ginger. We are talking about Zingiber officinalis. Is a very interesting remedy. Zingiber. The first time I heard about this remedy, and I remember this many years back, probably about 15-20 years back, and I had a colleague in my college, and I was studying, and I remember that his father was one of the most well-known homeopath of western part of Maharashtra, and he told me that my father, he uses this remedy Zingiber in cases where there is a renal failure, and especially acute renal failure, also in chronic renal failure, where the man is unable to pass urine. The urine is not actually forming, and he has to do the dialysis, and urine is not forming at all. The whole system is not able to form urine. And I was, I didn't know this, a remedy like Zingiber. I didn't know a remedy which is prepared from ginger exists. And that's what made me study this remedy. For the first time, I was quite blown over. I was quite surprised that such a remedy existed, and that's when I read it, and it was written prolonged retention of urine or complete cessation of function of kidney, boric. I was quite surprised about this indication, and then onwards I use this remedy often in men, women who are undergoing dialysis. Urine is not forming. It would be an important remedy. The other interesting part that I remember about Zingiber, and this again is very surprising. I learned this part from Dr. Shorkor, actually, and like many of his indications and out of box prescriptions, for which I think he should be one of the most special persons who has done work on that, um, is he used to give Zingiber in cases of backaches, in slip disc. And he had a very interesting symptom, and I'm going to tell you the main symptom he saw, and this is in Kent repertory, and hopefully my colleagues will put some subtitles on the videos below, was pain in the back, better by leaning the back against the chair ameliorate. Yeah, leaning against something ameliorate. Lumbar pain, leaning against something ameliorate. This was the, and aggravated after walking, aggravated on standing, aggravated on descending. This was the indication. Huh? I was quite surprised, very surprised by this indication, and on this he used to give many cases. He used to prescribe Zingiber, and the other indication he used to say is that when there is a lot of pain, when women have to stand for a long time on their heels, aching in the foot, in the heels, especially standing for a long time, the single remedy in Kent repertory, again Zingiber, reminds you of Squilla, shopkeepers, women standing for a long time. So this was my initial thought about Zingiber, and I was quite surprised. And that's one when we started reading more about the monocots and about the idea of lily family, and when you read more and more about the plant families, as Yakir writes it, and more work done by more homeopaths, um, you come to know about so many more indications for Zingiber. And you can see here, and I'm just reading this part, Witchman actually puts this in Zingiberaceae family and in the bigger subclass of monocot and lily family. So like Veratrum, like Squilla, interesting, like Colchicum. It's very interesting. Why this is interesting is also because when you read about gingiber, another indication on which I prescribe very often is something I came to know after I read Materia Medica. It's the only remedy who has asthma, where its asthma is aggravated, lying down, has to sit up. This is common symptom with Calicarb, arsenic. But the difference is in gingiber, it's always asthma related to gastric issues. And the main keynote is there is no anxiety during asthma. Asthma with no anxiety, with gastric issues, aggravated lying down, has to sit up. So this is a very interesting kind of thing. And then I found out it's very important for aggravation during rainy weather and at night and when they get up in the morning, especially early morning. So this makes it a very important remedy. For example, in a city like Mumbai, this becomes a very important remedy. And on that, when you understand the gingiber patterns, and there are some very interesting patterns. They are generally people who have a lot of activity. They are very active people, very cheerful, and then you read a little bit more about a kind of a fear that they have, many fears. But even the dreams that they get, there's interesting dreams of dancing in an old man, dreams of churches, dreams body part is enlarged. This almost reminds you of Sabadilla, which also same family. Dreams joyous, merry, cheerful, dreams of somersaults, dreams of wandering. So you can see a little pattern there of Lily family, of this very slight pattern of Lily family that reminds you of Veratrum album. So this is some interesting patterns I wanted to just share with you about gingiber. Although in Materia Medica, the other indication that they use is impure water. That's what they write, diarrhea from impure water. But it's a very interesting remedy that we could probably explore more and think about it more often than not. I hope this is useful, and do write to me what you think about it. My email ID is here. Be a part of us, be a part of our courses, be a part of learning, evolving yourself, and